Right guys, slowly but surely we're getting there. So we're just going to start on the rust around the windows. Now of course we've got to take the windows out. Not an easy feat. It takes about an hour to get a window out if you don't want to cut the rubber on the inside. I will show you how to do that. We've got a couple of other little spots here. But that's about it. So we've actually got to take the windows out to do them. And the back door's also got a nice big rusty bit there as well. So that's underneath the rubber. It's a habit on these guys. Rust is a habit on these guys compared to the old ones. So there is a fair bit of, focus on that there, fair bit of rust around them. They're not hard to do. I've already done this window. I've taken it out. We do have some rust issues here, so I've actually taken this window out. We'll just pull it out and show you what it looks like. Okay, oh, put him down there. So they have a lip of rubber that goes over the inside. Have a look at that. One of the other ones. Just open this one. And on this one you can see here, lip of rubber that goes on the inside, and that's what holds the window in. So what you can do, you can peel that rubber back with a few screwdrivers. Let's focus on here, not the tree in the background. With some screwdrivers, and slowly but surely sort of push the window in places. You don't want to push it all the way, because it'll end up cracking the window and the window will come out. So slowly but surely you get one corner poking out. I put a screwdriver down that inside bit then, and it helps keep that window in there. Then you start on the inside and start pushing it all the way. I'll show you on another one. I didn't even think of recording it, but dun, dun, dun. Here's the rust that is under the window. So it collects in these back corners. And the water comes down, of course, collects in these spots. I don't know if you can see that properly. Where's our light meter? We're on the darker section. So, yeah, you can see there, maybe, not sure, it's a bit dark out here this afternoon. Put that on. It's called a flash. And that's not going to work. Here we go, always on. You can see there another hole. There. Put my finger in it, and another hole down there. Easy enough fixes, we'll fix them up. Bit of metal over the top, and we'll cut the rust out. Metal over the top and put the window back in. So, another couple of holes to fix, but we'll get them done in this window. The rest of the window surround, really good. All the way around there. But you can see where I rolled the screwdriver down this edge, so I put a bit of a mark, and that helped me pull that rubber out as we rolled it down the edge. It pulled the lip over as we went down, but it marked the paint a little bit. Didn't dent it, but marked the paint a bit. So we'll get on to fixing this one up. We'll cut the rust out, and we'll go from there. Now, I did promise you I'd show you how to pull those windows out, but this thing here had a damaged file as soon as I pressed stop record. So you still didn't see how to do that. I'll show you basically how to do it on this window. I think I've got to pull that one out as well. But virtually what you're doing is you're getting absolutely every implement you can that's wide and put under the rubber. So what you actually do is you get the rubber and you're trying to pull it over the lip. Okay, if we get that in there and we jam it in, we want to start with corners first if we can. I'm going to try up here, because these have got the metal around them a little bit harder. Oop, put them back in the chair. And you want to try to get that rubber pointing outwards. So every single implement you can get under there and shove underneath that rubber, it will cause the lip to come down. Now on this one it was easier, same with that one, because you start getting your big stuff and you jam it in the rubber, underneath the rubber, and you pull it up towards it so it pulls over that lip. Not to say it was easy, because the glass does tend to flex and you think, God, how far does this flex? But I got this one out successfully. Rust, where's our rust? Oh, there it is. Okay, so it's not all the way through, which is great. I'll clean it up and see how much metal we've got left under there, and if we have got enough metal, I will fill it with my what do we call it, fiberglass filler. But if we haven't and it's gone through, I will replace it, but we'll get rid of that rust there. And there's a tiny little dot here. Now that rust there, sorry about the blue, that's tarp over the top, that's not too bad. And you can have a look around here, little bits of flaky paint. I'll do that better when I get outside and show you. Alright guys, bringing it back in, so that's what it looks like. Get rid of that tarp for a minute. Yeah, so not too bad. Little spot there, and it's not very deep at all, so we'll clean that up and put a bit of filler over the top and so forth. But before we do that, of course, we prevent it with the rust proofing or rust converter. The rest of the window frame, they're really good. So that's a bit of a blessing on that one. This one will be exactly the same. There's a couple of little spots coming out into that one, as we've said before, but we'll do this one window first. Righto, see you on the flip side. Bit of the rust treatment. There. Up here. Oh, focus on this bit, dude. That's it. Okay, you can probably see that some of the metal is actually going a different colour, going a whitish colour. That's because it's normal steel and it's just etching it in. Put it there on the screwdriver mark. But yes, very little rust, but we'll straighten that up with a bit of fiberglass filler, give it a bit of strength. Alright guys, so I've cleaned it up and it's not very deep. Which is really good. Very pleased with that. So I don't have to do too much to it. I'll give it a bit more of a grind with heavier gauge in there shortly. And that one's just surface, it's nothing exciting. So we'll clean that one up. Get all the, we'll do the rust prevention on those guys and fix them up from there. Alright, so happy with that. See you soon. Right guys, the rust isn't even thick enough to warrant filling it. We can look along there. So I've etch primed it and then I've put a bit of primer filler over the top. And the primer filler isn't obviously going to be thick enough to fill it up, but I do have some blade putty. And blade putty does up to 3mm. Little pink putty, it sets reasonably quickly. It's sort of a paint scratch filler, etc. So it'll be really good for these little pox marks that are there. This one you can't even see on the outside, it was underneath the thing, but we're going to fill it and make it smooth anyway. So if any water gets trapped under there, it's more likely to run away than get caught in little indentations in the paintwork and in the metal itself. So we'll fill that up with a bit of putty in a second after the paint after the filler dries, and we'll bring it back in. We fixed up all the window. It's not too bad, but I made a complete mess of the paint. Look at the great big run here. Couldn't really see it because the sun's overhead. It's in the wrong spot this year. Yeah, mess there. I'm not worried about that. That comes off. It's still a bit wet too. But yeah, complete mess of the paint. So that's all going to get sanded down before we put the window back in and do another coat over the top. The rust come up really well. No rust that you can see, which is cool. Yeah, so we'll put the window. We'll do the sanding of the paint tomorrow, and hopefully put the window back in. Now, how do we put the window back in? Well, let's go around the other side because it's finished, and we'll do that. Alright guys, so the secret to putting a window back in, oh my shadow's in the way, great, is a piece of rope. piece of cord that's strong enough for you to pull, and what it does, it goes in the seam, we put it in inside this seam, and it pulls the window rubber over the lip as you tug on the rope. So the first thing we need to do is find the corner that you want to start on. I always start on a corner. A lot of people start on a flat, but it's easier on a corner. And leave the rope long enough so you've got something to pull on. Feed it in that little groove that actually, that lip there. In these bus windows, it's a lot easier to do, or seems to be a lot easier to do, than the Beetle. Don't know why. Maybe it's the rope I've chosen, I'm not sure. So we go all the way along, pushing it in. Now at the corner here, make sure you've got an overlap. Overlap it there. The reason being is if this slips and you don't have an overlap, it's going to pull the rope, and you mightn't get all the way around, and you've got to stuff up the lip. Around here, a few degregations where the screwdrivers went in because I wasn't as happy pulling this one out as I was with the other one, or experience. Once you've done one, of course, it makes it a lot easier. We've got a little bit of rope left over, but that's fine. Push it all in there, it doesn't fall out. A little bit tighter if you want to. Make sure it's all in there tight. And then we put it back in the frame. Now I can't do that one-handed, so I'll bring you back in a minute. Put it back in the frame, and we'll go inside and proceed to try to put this window back in. Now, before we do, a lot of people put sealant around the windows and say that stops it from rusting. I don't like doing that in the Volkswagens. The Volkswagens have their own way of doing that. They've actually got 3 grooves in the rubber. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. 3 grooves in the rubber. So that's a tight fitted seal, and each of those grooves allow moisture to escape when the car's not sitting. Now it is synonymous for these guys that they do rust around the windows. The reason I feel they rust around the windows, unlike bugs and so forth, they don't have little drain holes. If you go up to a bug, and I'll show you right now, so you can see in a bug, they've got the drain holes, okay, to let the water down through. Now on a bug it goes down and drips down and rusts out the bottom of the thing, but it's better off doing that than sitting and rusting out the windscreen or window there. And also on the back one, they've got holes on the corner. Now this car was sitting out in the rain and the weather, and I had to repair that corner. But this one just goes down, probably can't see it, or maybe not, no. It goes down into the cooling area where it sucks the fresh air in, and then the water drips away. But those particular buses don't have that, and just the design of them, very square. They seem to hold the water in that back corner. I'm not sure if I want to drill holes in it, probably not, because it just really means the water's going to collect somewhere else. If we could stop it from, put a cup under there or whatever, that would be fine. But look, as I said, it's a road restoration. We'll get it on the road, and we'll think about that in maybe 10 years' time. I'll be probably too old to have done it by then. Alright, we'll go back to the thing and see if we can put the window in. Alright guys, I'll bring you back into where we were at with the window. I lost a couple of videos, so I couldn't actually show you how I cut it out and refilled it up. A little bit disappointed about that, but the corner itself turned out reasonably good. You can see there that the rust is gone. There's a bit of a bubble there, but that's just in the paint. So, turned out pretty good. It's just got a bit of paint on it at the moment, just to spray it to make it a little bit better. It's not the final coat. Sprayed there like that, so we can actually pop the window back in. Obviously, we're not going to leave little cracks and marks like that, and a little bit of rust there, but it's not, it's just surface, and I've treated it and put stuff over the top, but it's not flat yet. So little bits like that have to be fixed up properly. The paint colour matched very well. You can't really tell what it looks like compared to the old paint to the new. Well, maybe you can. If I go back here, it's a little tiny bit darker, but it's a pretty good match for a spray can jobby. So yeah, happy with that. Happy with how the corner turned out. The bus in general is starting to take shape. So I've got another, as we showed you in the other video, another window to take out, and what I'll do with that one is actually show you reasonably from start to finish how we're going to pull that that window over there out on the other side to fix that little bit of rust up that's under that one. Then we get onto the back one, and I'm not sure if this one there has one, can't remember. But if it hasn't, good. And we do have to do, of course, the back tailgate where it's got the rust over there, and like some of the little along there that we can't see. Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm going to tackle the back window like I do the sides. The sides seem to come out easier. Maybe the back will, but when you're by yourself trying to do it, it is a little bit difficult. But that's okay. We can sort that out when the time comes. Alright, so another part on Maisie bus done, and we will catch up with you on the flip side. One thing to note with any of these Volkswagens though, the upholstery goes up over the window lip, and that's how the upholstery is sealed in these cars. I'm not sure about the new ones, but I know these old ones, they all do that right back to ear dot. So I don't want this bit of the upholstery, well, here. So I've actually ripped the upholstery all the way off, and I've rip it off the bottom too, that bottom edge. Okay, I don't want that upholstery there. I'm going to line it with something else, and just bring the fabric or whatever we line it with, just up to the edge, right there. It does make it a little bit thicker, the window to hold in, but I don't think it'll make much difference. So I'm going to rip that all off there on the bottom. I've done it on this side, rip the upholstery off from there around. I really only want to keep the headlining, mainly because it's pretty crappy. It's had it around there as well, so I'll join it up there and we'll go from there. I got a spider that's crawling on me. Alright, so I'll get inside the car and we'll do the rest. Alright, you can see guys, I've pulled the rope a little bit, and it started to pull the window over the rubber over that lip. Now because I'm doing the top first, maybe I should have done the bottom, I'm not sure, but I'm going to have to push the window as we go, so it pushes the seal up in there. I'm going to have to push that little bit of upholstery underneath that rubber. Do that with one hand. I'm not. I'm going to do it with the magic of editing. And with that magic, I've pulled that over. We can actually see a bit of that paint coming off with it as we pull the rubber. You can see it going over the lip quite easily. So that's a little bit more difficult as it gets down further. I need to push the window across that way, so I'll go outside and do that in a minute after I get this bit over that little edge there, and we'll do that. Okay guys, I've just had one of my friends on the phone, and I was talking to him for a while, and he's done a lot of these, and he said, why don't you start from the bottom corner? Why are you starting at the top corner? I said, well, that's what I'm going to do. And he said, no, the window did slip out as well, because I was pushing it and trying to get it to seat properly. And my top corner fell out and I just had to reseat the window. He said start from the bottom corner and do the bottom as much as you can first, because gravity's going to then work in your favour by pushing the window in. So we'll see if it makes any difference. I can't remember which rope is which. Obviously, there we go, this rope comes this way, so I'll push it in, I'll pull it over that lip, like so. Well, gravity does do the work, and then I'll go up this edge just a little bit to hold the window in. Once I've done that, I'll go down the bottom, pull the lip over. I'm hoping. Oh wow, a lot easier this way. Oh, there's lots of things in my way here. Oh, white, rubbish, pillow from my knees, sandpaper, not good. And I'll keep pulling that with one hand. And once we get a little bit done, I'll go outside. And see how it's all going. Talcum powder or a bit of soapy water also helps as well, and I forgot all about that. I'll just keep going. Go down for a minute, so you get the idea. I'll get to the corner and see how we go. I'll push the window back in. Alright guys, so I'm pulling the top. I don't want to go all the way around with the top. I'll sort of meet up. That's how far I've got with the bottom. I'm not sure if that's how you do it. Seems to be working okay so far. Go all the way around there. Oh, can't see the bottom one, hang on. It's going to take more than one hand to get the bottom one done. I'll see what I can do. Down to the last little bit. I'm hoping it's going to pull over with little effort, which it's not. And I should have went all the way around one way apparently. Would have made life a lot easier, because then where it crosses over you've got that other bit to rely on. Anyway, let's see how we go. Pull it. Is it going to all go? And I'm getting rope burn. Is it or not? I'm just going to get a little bit more. Is it going to wreck the seal? We'll find out in a second. Right, it didn't wreck the seal. Wow. Let's pull a little bit of my fresh paint off though. I'm a little bit disappointed with that. But, whew. So the window's back in. We'll just push it in properly on the outside to make all the seals all push in. But that's how you put the window back in. Like that, a little bit of effort and not very fit. So the window is actually back in the car. Right, so we'll, as we said, push it a little bit on the outside and see if we can push that rubber in, because it's not properly in on the outside of the car, and we'll go from there. Alright, so bit of a push. Oh, there we go. The top wasn't in at all properly. You can see here where we've fixed up that rust. A little bit of sinkage there. Oh dear. Oh well. It happens. Keep pushing. No, for a minute till it all sinks properly. Go back in and have a look how far it's come over the upholstery. See, so it's come up to the upholstery how it's meant to. Just push this stuff a little bit, and happy with that. Happy as Larry. Whoever Larry is, he'll be happy as well. Right, so one window in. I'll just wait for another day and we'll fix up the upholstery on that side, rip that other bit out there. You can see it's hatted at the back where the sun used to start shining, and a bit of mould there. It looks like water's come down, so I don't know what that is. We'll have to investigate that a little bit further. Looks like water's been dripping a lot down through that section. That's alright. Happy, happy, happy. Right. See you on the flip side. Oh, and PS, you're probably going to ask me about what we're going to do inside here. I've decided that after talking to people, you don't need necessarily to put anything in there. But having said that, water can sit in there. Not that it's going to hurt anything because it's only a piece of rubber. But if it sits in there, it could just stay in one spot. I don't really know. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Lash out and buy new mouldings. Or can I push it apart enough to put that black stuff in that I was thinking of? And I don't think I can. Well, maybe. On the bottom anyway. But new mouldings push in. Apparently you're meant to do them, I'm not sure, before the window goes in. If not, it can stay that way for a little bit longer.